All right, friends, we're here for another video. You know what we're doing. One video a day for the first 100 days of 2025. Hey, if you want to see the rest of these videos, go check out on my YouTube channel, check out the playlist. You'll see them all in there. Or if you're listening on your on basically a podcast platform, I have them numbered so you can check them on there. So let's get going. Today's topic is 5 good habits to have as a real estate investor. Now, I want to break this down. I want it to be practical, tactical, and something that'll help you out. So, the first good habit that you should have as a real estate investor that I really want to encourage you towards is that you should make offers consistently. Now, a lot of folks say, "Look, Courtney, making an offer that's intimidating, right? Because what if it gets accepted, right? So here's what making offers consistently does. Number one, it gets you in properties, right? And I personally am not a big fan of just a whole bunch of blind offers, right? So I like getting in properties. It gets you running numbers, and running numbers, that's the art of underwriting. And so it's really working that muscle. And so offers turn into accepted offers, which turn into closings. And so if your goal is to buy any real estate at all, and there needs to be a level of offers being made. Now, again, people can get intimidated by that, but understand there is no owning real estate without an offer being made. People often say, "Hey, Courtney, I have a goal of buying, 3 rentals this year or 2 rentals this year." And or maybe, here we are early into 2025. So we're early 2025. So maybe end of 2024, you look back and you had a goal to buy some properties, but you realize maybe you didn't reach that goal. So many folks have come to me on the back end and they say, Courtney, I had this goal to do XYZ by, buying properties and I didn't hit it. One of the first things I say is, how many offers did you make? And so it is really important to understand that this is a key performance indicator. And so in that world, it's number one, it should be something that you know. I keep a note in my cell phone that basically has the month and it has basically my offers. So for 2025, my goal, I have goals of buying X amount of properties, but maybe if you've heard before, I like to tie my goals to an action item. And so my goal of buying and owning certain rentals this year, the key action item that I have is to make 15 offers a month. And so here we are in January, and I've made 8 offers so far. And it's the 18th of the month, so I've got still some work to do, right? To get through to get through those 15, because I know if I make those 15 offers, eventually that's going to turn into contracts for me, which is going to turn into closings, deals done, stuff like that. So I just want to encourage you. Look, a great habit that you can have is to make offers consistently. So, second, second good habit you can have as a real estate investor is to have clearly defined goals. Now, I'm a big believer in this. This was something that I think is not talked about a lot in the real estate world. Too many folks are too broad in the real estate world. I'm not saying you have to have a niche. I'm saying you have to get clear on what you want. Because if you don't, then you're just going to make an offer on anything. And then you could be swayed, by this property in this state or this different asset class or whatever. And so there's a lot that can distract you. And so, um, ultimate clarity gives you direction, and by having direction you can stay focused and you can put in the work, right? And so this is such a key part. I believe it's unfortunately grossly missing in the real estate investor community. And so if I can wish anything for you in 2025 is that you have enough clarity that you can put the reps in the right direction, and the reps, the repetition, right? And so, but I believe that the lack of clarity is what keeps you stuck and what unfortunately, makes you, really just don't get traction, right? Like you're spinning your wheels, you're doing busy work, right? And so that clarity can really help with a lot of things. So for me, um, For many years, I bought a lot of different types of properties. It wasn't until 2020 that I really started getting clear. And I'll be honest, with each passing year, I'm getting clearer and clearer. Really, what I want is 25, what I call my legacy portfolio. It's 25 nice houses in nice neighborhoods. And I've defined that. It's very clear 1990 or newer, preferred school districts. These are properties, my average here in our market, in my market, it is the average price of a home. So the average price of a home here is 275. So I like 250 to that 450 range for my legacy properties. That's pissed me in. Again, nice houses, nice neighborhoods. And my goal is to own 25 of them. I currently own 6 out of those 25. And yes, I own a lot of other types of properties that eventually I'll start selling those, and that'll help me get into more of these legacy properties. But this is really just me restructuring my portfolio, and having that clarity really helps me when making decisions. And again, otherwise, I just bought anything that was in front of me, but it leaves me with a portfolio that's really all over the place, and it's not really the type of portfolio I want to end up with, which is where that clarity came into to play. So, as the third tip I really want to give you, as far as a good habit you can have as a real estate investor, is that you want to keep your eyes open for opportunity. Now, think about this. Think back to before you got into the real estate investing world, or started listening to real estate investing podcasts, or started going to the real estate investor meetups, or reading the books, or whatever. Before then, if you saw a property with really high grass and the windows boarded up, what would you think? Did you pay attention to it? A lot of us maybe might have noticed it, but otherwise maybe not. But now, because you have been trained and your eyes are starting to get more and more trained for opportunities, if you see that boarded up property, you say, hey, let me write that down. Let me go look up that owner. Maybe even let me go contact that owner, right? And so by training your eyes to look for opportunity, really one of the other things I would encourage you is to train your ears to listen. And this may look like, you're sitting in a restaurant and you hear the table near you is talking about real estate, right? And maybe you say, hey, I have enough boldness to ethically interfere. And when someone's talking about, for example, one time I was at a restaurant and there was 2 rows of I guess you would say booths, and so this was the booth right next to mine. Oddly, I could put my hand over, right? And what I heard, I literally had lunch with an attorney that day, and and I remember while I was waiting for them to come, or to the restaurant, or maybe they were going to the bathroom or something, and I listened, and I heard that the table next to us was talking about how this woman had just inherited her mom's property, and she was dealing with all these contractors trying to get it ready to sell, and it was such a burden and an issue. And so that was one of those things where I definitely took the time to lean over, gave her my information, and I said, hey, how can I help? Do you need referrals? Are you looking for someone to buy it as is? I'm so sorry to hear about your mom, right? So those are some things that I would encourage. Don't only just train your eyes, but train your ears to listen for opportunities. And this can actually, without opportunities, whether it's opportunities on MLS, whether it's opportunities that you're going direct to seller, or opportunities from other people, third party deal finders, uh, it's going to be really hard, to keep making those offers. And so I think this is really important. Uh, So ultimately, I think this is a really great skill set to have. Definitely want to be keeping an eye and an ear out for opportunities. All right, fourth good habit that you can have as a real estate investor is that you really want to line up money before you need it. The worst time to go looking for money is when you have a deal and you have to close quickly, because at that point, then look, lenders, whether it's different lenders with different products, now they're more in the business of it. They may be more okay with it, but again, that might become difficult when, again, it's your back's against the wall, you have a short timeline. But definitely when it comes to stuff like private money and individuals, because they can kind of smell the desperation and all that. So one of the best habits that you can have is that you should be constantly building relationships with lenders and getting to know different loan products, And then on the private money side, from everyday individuals, you should constantly be having conversations so that you should be teeing things up so that when an opportunity comes around, you already have those relationships built, or you know of loan products that you've already, asked your questions about and understand their process and what they would need. So then you're just calling them up and saying, hey, I've come across this opportunity. That loan product we talked about, I would like to, start the process for that. Let me go ahead and start the application, get the ball moving. Or with a private money lender, hey, I know you said that you had XYZ available and you were looking to do a deal. I have an opportunity available. Let me tell you more about it. Is this something that you'd want to do a deal with me on? And so the best time, again, the best time to line up money is when you don't need it. So again, you can be sober minded, so that you can prepare for when your next opportunity comes around. And again, it can give your lender, whether it's private, whether it's some sort of professional lender, that they have the confidence that again you're not being desperate, that you're not that you're just trying to prepare, right, and protect them. And so the fifth good habit that you can have as a real estate investor is to stay informed of your local market and the broader market, economy as it sits, without, ultimately staying informed can really help protect you. Staying informed, not only of, the broader market, but also your local market. There's a lot that can help do. Look, one of the biggest things you can do is learn to pivot when necessary. And so by staying informed, you can really kind of stay ahead of the game. You can be proactive rather than reactive. So some of the favorite ways I like to stay informed for my local market is through the local RIAs. The local RIAs, the hope is they have their finger on the pulse of what's going on. So, for example, if an ordinance is getting proposed, you can hear about it there. If an ordinance gets passed and it's now, something that you have to abide by, you can then hear about it. Those are things that are important. For example, just recently in New Orleans in 2022, so now going on, easily 2.5 years ago, is that there was an ordinance proposed called the Healthy Homes Program, which was a landlord registry. And in essence, it was Code Enforcement 2.0. And this was proposed. And so through the local RIAs, we gathered a lot of folks. We actually went to city council and we actually pushed back on some of what was proposed. And then they eventually passed it, but it was definitely a more watered down version of what it ultimately was. So here we are today. It's in 2025, and Healthy Homes is an ordinance, and they're actually finalizing some deadlines of when you have to register into that registry. And there are folks who are like, have any of you guys heard of this? Right? Man, I didn't know that this was a thing. I wish we would have known. Again, get plugged in, right? Get plugged in. You can learn about things as they're happening. For example, if something is on a ballot and you need to go vote on it and get informed, those things are important. So finding ways to stay, up to date of your local market. It can be things like, again, proposed ordinances, legislation, things like that. But it can also be things like, for example, the issues going on with your local market. Louisiana is having a major insurance crisis. When out of state wholesalers or investors, um, somehow they reach out to me and we talk, and sometimes it is clear as day they have no idea what's going on with our insurance crisis, and so it's like they're in la la land. Some of you guys know that the city of New Orleans had major Airbnb restrictions that came in over the last few years. And again, I'm seeing some out of town folks who are like, again, in la la land over things like that. And so, um, that's what a good habit is picking a market and staying informed on it. And then staying informed on the broader market is just understanding how that can, impact your local market. So you want to get around other investors. So the RIAs are great for that. Getting around other investors, jumping on a phone call with them pretty, regularly, going to have coffee or lunch with them. Those are different ways that you can stay informed. And especially those within your strategy. For example, if you're a landlord, find local landlords or property managers who work within your strategy and stay informed. When it came to when it came to those Airbnb restrictions, who was my go-to source? It was a short-term rental manager. They were within that strategy and they knew what was going on. And so those are the five, good habits of real estate investors that I want to suggest to you. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about these habits? Are these habits that you currently implement? I'd love to know. And as always, guys, this is one video a day for the first 100 days of 2025. So make sure you subscribe so you can be alerted of tomorrow's video. Appreciate you guys.